It is the last week of the sketches for Tuesdays in the Attic, the Dusty Attic sketches. Dusty Attic is an Australian company. It is the last week. It is week 52, the last week for 2021. We will be continuing this series into 2022. It only goes to week 49 in 2022 though, so that is what we've got. So I've got that lovely sketch you just saw. I've got more photos than what the sketch calls for, but you know how I roll with that. I usually just combine it. So I just have one extra photo from what the sketch calls, and I don't have any 6x4 going horizontally, so I'm just going to combine two of them, probably those two together, into the 6x4. So we will do that, and it's just my niece and her love with her dog, and I've got whatever I have of Pink Paisley kind of left over. So we've got the stamp set from Fifth and Monaco, which I think I might use. These stamps are so like intricate, but I might create a background with them or on the background is what my thought. I've got some random Fifth and Monaco papers. This is like from their baby line. We've got random Fifth and Monaco stickers, also from their baby line. This is from the baby line, very pretty colors. We can use some of those. We've got this beautiful blue as well, Fifth and Monaco. We've got the whales in the water. I don't think we'll be using that today. We've got this beautiful stripe, which I think we'll use. We got the letters, which we'll probably use. We also have this black and white Fifth and Monaco stripe, which we probably could use. We've got branding strips galore. What's on the back of any of these neutral enough? This might be my neutral. We are in a deck. It's possible. Might stitch around it with white. That might be fun. I love me the wood grain, always. Like, yeah, I think she's got some stripes on, but I think we'll leave those two papers out. I think we'll leave this paper out. So this sketch calls for basically two banners and then two other like chunks of paper essentially. So we've got two banners, two chunks, we've got paper. Ooh, this might be a good one to do. That might be a good, we'll see. Ooh, but that might be, ooh, I don't know. Okay. I have no clue. I've got lots of options. Lots of options. Okay. So I am going to get some papers trimmed down to the sizes we need them to be, and then we're going to start assembling. So let's get started. I was so indecisive that I changed my mind completely and did none of that. No, I decided I had a really good idea for the wood grain paper, so I decided not to use it. I'm going to use it for something else, another a challenge at Paper Issues for December, actually. And I decided to go through my stash, and I had this giant bag of goodies and papers and things from Paper Issues. So I figured I would look to see if there was anything in there I could use. And in the meantime, also from this, I don't remember what the paper pad was called, but it was all like ocean beach vacation themed. I used quite a bit of it. I used it to make like a gift for somebody, but it was, yeah, very nautical. So I found this, it's like a distressed colored gray stripe. The other part isn't necessarily white, but it's not gray or cream either. It's just, yeah. So I decided instead of stitching around, and then I found this photoplay paper because I like the back of it. Just a white honeycomb. Instead of stitching around, I would put my paper on this and trim it down just enough that we could kind of frame the two ends with that straight paper, if that makes any sense. Anywho, so I'm just going to have kind of a outline on the outer two, the right and the left. I don't know what I'm trying to say. The right and the left. The right and the left have kind of a little border, and that's, yeah. So I did that, and then I decide I want to use all these papers, so I'm going to go ahead. First, I don't want like the whole thing to be blue, and I don't want the whole thing to be pink. So I'm just trying to figure out what papers I can use for what, and like how big they are, and what's left of them, and that kind of thing. So I'm just trying to figure that out at the moment. So I decide that this galaxy paper, I like that it's slightly darker blue, or night sky, I should say. It's not really galaxy. I like that it's the darker blue. And so I decide that's going to be my main photo mat. And then it ends up happening that I actually don't use all the photos. I get rid of 2 of them because really they don't show her face. One of them is sufficient to show that she's just being cute. So I end up using the same amount of photos as in the sketch. They're just different sizes. The bigger photo ends up being like 3.5 by 3.5. And then the smaller one is more like 2 by 3.5. And then the other one ends up being like 2.25 by 2.5. And then the journaling also very similar to that size. So that is what I end up doing. So completely different than what I originally planned, which is fine. That's completely fine. So yeah. So I'm just trimming those down, getting those on that paper, and then I'm going to trim that down, distress it, and then I start making the 2 banners. I want the pink hearts to be one banner. Then I look at the stripe, and I was like, ooh, to put more color behind. And then I could use the blue stripes as one of the banners as well. So that works out really, really well. And I really like the way that looks. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, get those banners cut. I don't distress any more of the edges. I'm not really sure why I did the first one. Oh, because the edge was already kind of like janky. It wasn't nice and clean. I could tell that either when I cut it, something went wrong or something. So that is why. So I decided just to make the whole thing distress, but not distress anything else after that, which is fine. And then I really like the bright pink again, and I wanted to bring that in. I matted the journaling in that. I don't know if you saw that. So I'm going to piece it together so it matches and you can barely find the seam. And then I end up covering the seam up with a word anyway, or a phrase, so that you can't see the seam, just to kind of hide it a little bit better. And I really like the alphabet paper. That ends up being the bigger layer on the side. And after the layers are all together, I glue them all together so that I can use it as one. I can move it as one piece, because now I would love to stamp, because now I have a white background. I would love to stamp onto the background using some of those florals. Those floral stamps. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So I have that little piece of the floral paper there kind of as reference to figure out what colors I should be using, or I should be like getting out. That is my palette, if you must. So I end up first stamping in Ballet Slipper. I think that's what it's called. Yep. And it's too light. So then I thought, well, you can kind of watercolor with these Pink Fresh inks. That's what I have, is all the cubes. And so I grab out one of my watercolor brushes, and it doesn't work. It's already dry. You know, this isn't watercolor paper. This isn't mixed media paper. It's not going to move. So then I'm like, well, I would like to color the petals in with a different pink anyway. So then on the glass part of the mat, I'm going to stamp some bubble gum and try to paint in, and then it just looks like blobs because you can't see the outline. So then I go back with my StazOn because it is kind of a glossy paper, and I stamp in black, and I'm really liking the way that looks. Then it's looking like something's there, and I really, really like it. And I will go back and do some more painting or watercoloring with the bubble gum after it's all said and done, to kind of fill in the places that I missed. And then I'm going to take, I believe it's olive green, and stamp one of the leafy bits. And then I want a little bit of blue in there. So then I go ahead and use Storm, I believe it's called. Yep, Storm, and I stamp another floral in the little clusters with the Storm, and then I paint inside of it with Slumber, which so little slightly different blue, but very similar blues to what is in that floral paper. And I'm really liking it. It was fun just to play with my stamps a little, do something with them, and it made those corners or those little areas very robust, very not as naked as they did look for a second there. They did look kind of naked. So I really like the way that stamping, and it's something very easy you can do with stamping, brought those areas to life. And then I just need the title. So after I get all that done, I'm going to glue the whole thing down, and then I'm going to just grab some ephemera pieces for the title, add some of these white sequins in those two areas, add some of the gold like starburst sequence in the two areas. My light was dimming, so I shut it off here in a minute. And then a gold word. Does it say loving this? I think so. And I'll put that up in the upper left-hand corner. So you'll see that in the close-ups. And then I journal, and it turns out super cute. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Thanks for watching along this whole 52 weeks of this, and get ready for another 49 weeks of Tuesdays in the Attic, and we'll see you next week. Bye.